What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for a fun Super Bowl pre-game show. Throughout this pre-game show, I'm going to break down Super Bowl 56, give you my thoughts on the game, specifically the matchups that I believe will determine this game, Super Bowl 56 between the Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams. On top of that, I'm going to give you some of the outside the box X factors that not a lot of people are discussing and talking about. And that is going to be the breakdown for the game. On top of the breakdown for the game, I want to have some fun and discuss the halftime performers. So I made a little bit of a actual Instagram post. If you guys haven't checked that out, follow us on Instagram at TheBottomLineView. I put it up on Instagram. My favorite songs, my favorite albums from the different halftime performers. We're going to talk about the halftime performance and what I expect and what I think might happen and just talk about the music. And then on top of that, we are going to have a Q&A at the end of the show where you can ask me any NFL related questions, any Super Bowl related questions, any betting related questions, or any questions really relating to myself. I look at this show as kind of the finale of this regular season and of this half of the 2021 NFL season. So this is going to be kind of like a big, fun pre-game show to get you hyped for the Super Bowl, but just to have a good time. So get in that live chat. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what your favorite part of the bottom line view was for this season. And also let me know what you're looking forward to most throughout the Super Bowl between the Bengals and the Rams. Maybe it's the game. Maybe it's the quarterback matchup. Maybe it's Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase. Maybe it's the halftime show. Maybe it's the Super Bowl just being in LA. Let me know your favorite part in the comments. Don't forget, guys, to Gronk spike that like button and subscribe to the channel for more BLV just like this. Also, Gronk spike that notification bell for the latest upload. And if you guys aren't already, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Mitch Milani. Follow us on Instagram and also get in the Discord. Link is in the description. You can join the community, talk football, talk basketball, talk movies, talk music, and just join the rest of the community on Discord. We have, I'm not even sure how many members at this point, but we have, I think, over 300 members in there. So if you want to join the die-hard BLVers, then do so by joining the Discord. Links in the description. All right, guys, so let's get into the pre-game show. And let me know who you're picking for this game. Are you picking the Bengals? Are you picking the Rams? You guys know my pick by now. If you haven't already seen that, I'm not sure what you're doing. But I made multiple previews, and I'm pretty sure you know who I'm picking. I'm picking the Los Angeles Rams. I don't have to be crazy about it. I don't have to spend all this time, getting around the question. I am picking the Los Angeles Rams. I picked them to win the game 27-20. Let me know if you're picking the Rams as well. And I have sensed something a little bit odd, I would say, about this Super Bowl. I feel like a majority of casual football fans don't really know much about either of these teams. And I think that's because there's not a huge star quarterback in this game. I think Joe Burrow is getting close to becoming a star in this league, but he's not quite there. He could potentially become a star if he performs well in this game and if the Bengals win. I do feel like if they lose, he still kind of is on that borderline, and it will take some time for him to become that. Matthew Stafford has been locked away in Detroit for quite some time, so people don't really know him quite that well. There's no Tom Brady. There's no Aaron Rodgers. There's not even a Russell Wilson or a Drew Brees level name here in this Super Bowl, which I think makes it unique because I don't really recall the last time that happened. When was the last time we had a Super Bowl without a big name quarterback who kind of everybody knew and was big across sports? So you go through the list, right? Tom Brady's been to most of them. But Tom Brady last year versus Patrick Mahomes, that was really the matchup. 2019, you had Mahomes in the game. Then the year before, you had Brady in the game versus the Rams. 2017, you had Brady again. 2016, you had Brady and Ryan, who's probably the same level as Stafford. And then before that, you had Peyton Manning and Cam Newton in the game. And then you had Russell Wilson and Brady in the game. Then you had Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson. So I guess you would say 2012 was the last time that we didn't see a big quarterback. You know, Colin Kaepernick kind of became that after the football, but not necessarily while he was playing. And then Joe Flacco was never really a big name quarterback. So this is like kind of the first game we've seen in a while without a big name quarterback. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're feeling in the comments. I know YouTube has been a little bit screwy with me over the last week or two with getting notifications to people and just overall the views. But I appreciate all of the guys and all the people that are watching the videos throughout the Super Bowl week. I did make a playlist for all of the Super Bowl content. So if you haven't already checked it out, check out the playlist and check out all the videos that you might have missed. I made a Who's Better video. I made a preview video. What else did I do? I made we did the Stafford video with Lenny. By the way, shout out to Lenny, who made an awesome edit of that video. If you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend it. But a Matthew Stafford video of all my takes, which was similar to the one of the Bucks before. Rick Badboy's in the chat. Odd Big King is in the chat. What's going on, guys? I'm definitely going to be getting to your comments here very soon. Okay, so let's just check where we're at in terms of this game. So the line is currently 3.5 points from where I stand and where I'm seeing and where I'm betting. So it was 4 earlier in the week. It's moved down. To any of you gamblers out there, I would recommend, if you haven't already put some action on the game, if you haven't already put a little bit of money on the game, I would highly recommend, if you are looking at the spread or the total and you like the Rams, I would wait to potentially lay the points if you like the Rams. Because I think a lot of the public, and this was the point I was getting to with the whole quarterback fiasco conversation and rant that I went on, is a lot of people that like NFL football, that watch football, are cheering for the Bengals. And a lot of the people that, like, I guess I would put myself in this conversation, but people that discuss the NFL on the daily, have a podcast or on TV or are in the media of some sort, they usually are picking the Rams from what I've seen. So there's kind of like this 50-50 split of a lot of fans are cheering for the Bengals, but a lot of people that are in charge of the narratives of the game like the Rams to win or are picking the Rams to win. So I see this kind of like divisiveness. And I believe that if you like the Rams to win the game, wait until before the game, because a lot of the public is cheering for the Bengals. Like, just ask Natasha in the chat who she's cheering for. She will tell you she's cheering for the Bengals, right? I'm pretty sure that Bodo is cheering for the Bengals. I could be wrong, even though that's an AFC North team, so that might be a bad pick there, but a lot of the public is cheering for the Bengals, and that means a lot of people on Sunday are going to bet on the Bengals. They like the underdog. They have overachieved. They have Joe Burrow, who is very charismatic, and a lot of people gravitate towards him, and the story of the team, and that they haven't seen the Bengals in a long time in a big spotlight, in a big game. They might recall the Rams losing a Super Bowl a few years ago. So there's a lot from a public perspective, if you're gambling and you like the Rams, to hold until before the game to potentially lay the number, because I'm not saying it's going to get to 3, but if there is a chance it does, you want to be able to wait till it gets to 3, because for it to move off 3.5 to 3, I think it's worth it to wait. Now, if you like the Bengals, I would probably just take them right now. If you do like the Bengals, I would have taken them a while back because it was at 4 for a majority of the week. Now, in terms of the total, 48.5, 49 I've seen in some spots. If you can get a 49 and you like the under, obviously, take it now. I think a lot of places right now are at 49 and you could take the under. I like the under personally in this game, but I could see a debate for the overs. So if you like the over, you might be out of luck a little bit because the week began at 50. It's moved down to 48.5, and then it moved back up to 49. So it's somewhere in the middle, but you know that a lot of people, if you like the under, the public is going to continue to bet the over because that's what they do. So if you want to bet the under, wait as well on top of the Rams. So if you're on the Rams, if you're on the under, then wait as long as you can till the game starts and then bet, because that is where all this money is going to come in on the over, and then you can sneak your under bet in. All right, so just for the potential of getting that extra half a point or that extra point or whatever it may be. So that's where I kind of stand on the gambling aspect of the spread and the total at this moment in time. You guys know, if you checked out my best bets, which is another video in the playlist to check out, that I like the under 48.5. I like the Rams, specifically the Rams money line in this game, because I could see an avenue for the game to be like a field goal game or like a 4-point game, where that gets tricky. But I really do like the Rams to win the game. And I have since the game we understood who was playing in the game. So that's where I stand on it. Now, next up, let's discuss the key Super Bowl matchups that will take place throughout Super Bowl 56. Thank you guys for joining me here. We've got Bodo. What's going on, Bodo? How you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a bit. Okay, so the key defining Super Bowl matchups, let's start with the one that everybody is talking about. Everybody is talking about the defensive line of the Los Angeles Rams versus the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. And in a lot of ways, that is the right thing to discuss because that is the defining matchup of this game. If the Rams can effectively, consistently disrupt Joe Burrow and get to the quarterback, hit the quarterback, more importantly, sack the quarterback, and pressure him into bad plays and turnovers potentially, that is how the Rams are going to be able to win this game, and they're going to be able to dominate that side of the football. Now, I made a nice little pretty graphic here to kind of showcase the ridiculousness of this. So let's just check it out right here. So the Rams defensive line versus the Cincinnati offensive line. I wanted to showcase the ridiculousness of how much better the Rams defensive line is than the Bengals offensive line. So the Rams, obviously, higher sack percentage. You look at it, Bengals are 31st in sack percentage. That's second to last. Their pass blocking win rate is 30th. That is third to last. PFF grade is 25th on the offensive line. The only thing which I find interesting that they're halfway decent at is allowing pressure. They're actually only 14th in allowing pressure, which in a lot of ways is better than just giving up sacks, because what this tells me is that they don't give up a ton of pressure, but Joe Burrow will hold on to the ball, and Joe Burrow will sacrifice taking sacks for the big play. That is what these stats tell me, because they're only 14th in allowing pressure, but they're 31st in allowing sacks. So that's interesting. Win rate also is 30th, which means maybe Burrow just does a good job of getting rid of the ball as well to keep those pressures low, even if they're losing. Then you got the Rams, who first in win rate, first in PFF grade. Now they are 16th in pressure and 8th in sacks. But something interesting about the Rams was a stat I brought up throughout the preview, which was that the Rams are actually first in pressure with a 4-man rush, but they drop significantly when they do blitz. So when they send 5 or more rushers at the quarterback, they are actually not very good at getting pressure. But when they rush 4, they're the best team at rushing 4 in the NFL. And in these previews, I've talked about how important it is for the Rams to only rush 4 and play more coverage versus Joe Burrow to potentially help out on a Jamar Chase, or just to make Joe Burrow hold on to the ball, because it's simple, guys. If you rush less players, you have more players in coverage, it's going to take away more potential easy throws for Joe Burrow, force him to hold the ball for that extra split second, and that's where Von Miller can come around the corner and get a strip sack. That's where Aaron Donald can win his rush and get a pressure, can force a bad throw. But if Burrow sees the read early and you're blitzing and he can get the ball out quick, it doesn't matter if you're blitzing. Your coverage has got to hold up. And the Rams, their coverage is not as good as their pass rush, which means you want to help your coverage by having less pass rushers, if that makes sense. You got to think it through like a math perspective, right? You've got only 11 players on the field. A certain amount can cover, a certain amount can rush. And that's the way you've got to think about it. If you're blitzing, that means there's less players in coverage, which means more stress is on your secondary. And the only real great secondary player for the Rams is a corner named Jalen Ramsey, who can only cover one player, because one person can only cover one person. And if you're looking at the rest of the matchups, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, etc., they're going to win those matchups. So that's why that's so essential. But if you look at it, the Rams, if they rush 4, occasionally rush 3, maybe occasionally rush 5, they should be able to get effective, consistent pressure on Joe Burrow in this game. And that is the first matchup everyone's discussing. What's going on, John? How you doing, bro? The second matchup is Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase. Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase. This is the second matchup everybody's talking about. And this is interesting because I don't know how often we are going to actually see this matchup. We could see this matchup often. We could maybe not see this matchup often. So that's something where it depends on if Jalen Ramsey is going to consistently be following Jamar Chase. As I've discussed throughout the playoffs, one of the biggest myths with the Rams is that Jalen Ramsey does follow number 1 receivers. The only game I've really seen him follow a receiver for a majority of the game was Mike Evans. Every other game I've seen of Jalen Ramsey with the Rams, with Raheem Morris as his coordinator, I have not seen him follow one guy. They used to do it with Hopkins, but since Raheem Morris took over for Brandon Staley, this has been a less common occurrence because they like to actually move Jalen Ramsey around to the perimeter, to the slot, to help with certain areas and against certain formations of tendencies that the offense runs. So they want to put him in the most important position dependent on that formation. So that is interesting about Jalen Ramsey. But if you take away Jamar Chase, and that's why I brought this up, you take away Jamar Chase on big plays, that is going to be where you really need to make it count, right? Occasionally the odd first down to not allow the easy drive starter for Joe Burrow. The third down where you know Joe Burrow just looks to Jamar Chase, he's going to throw it up to him like he did many times versus the Chiefs. But not every play are you going to see Jalen Ramsey on Jamar Chase. On top of that, you're not going to see a lot of man-to-man coverage from the Rams because that's not what they do. They play a lot of zone. They play zone because they try to get their 4-man rush to the quarterback. They're not a great man-to-man team because you need a lot of depth at corner to be a great man-to-man team. And the Rams don't have that. That's their weakness. So they play a lot of zone. And when you play zone, it's tough for one corner to take away one receiver because you're responsible for an area of the field. And Chase is going to be able to beat that at times. So I could see Chase having a decent amount of success in this game. But I do think we're going to talk about this with X factors. There's a couple other players on the Bengals that need to have big games as well. But don't expect Chase to be completely locked out of this game. He's too talented. His rapport with his quarterback is too strong. And the way that the Rams use Ramsey is not going to be able to fully take him out of this game. Next, we've got the Trey Hendrickson versus Andrew Whitworth matchup. This is a matchup that not a lot of people are actually talking about that I think is a huge matchup in this game. So we were talking about this on BLV versus Consensus, which if you guys don't know what that podcast is, check it out on Patreon. $3 a month gets you that podcast where we discuss the Super Bowl in depth, myself, Ultra, Lenny, and Durkant. And in that matchup, you've got to look for the Bengals' ability to also get pressure on the Rams. Everybody's talking about the Rams' ability to get pressure on the Bengals. But can the Bengals break through and get consistent pass rush on Stafford? Because what do we know about Matthew Stafford, guys? And let me know in the comments if you know this answer. What is Matthew Stafford really, really good at this season? Let me know if you know that answer. Let me know if you've been studying up. What is Matthew Stafford really, really good at this season? What is he really good at? Let me know in the comments. But why Trey Hendrickson versus Andrew Whitworth is really important. So you look at that. If they send for Hendrickson's the guy that usually gets the quarterback. He's the most disruptive guy. He's the guy that's going to get the pressure. He's the guy that's been consistently making plays for the Bengals. And Odd Big King was the first to say it. Jin was second. They say beating the blitz. You guys are correct. So if you're sending 4 players, right, Trey Hendrickson's going to be the guy. If you're sending 3 guys, Trey Hendrickson's going to be the guy. And what did we see out of the Bengals last week? We saw 3-man rushes, which is very rare. It's a Matt Patricia out there. And a lot of times it didn't work for Matt Patricia. But, 4-man, 3-man rushes from the Bengals versus the Chiefs, and it actually confused Mahomes with the amount of players that were dropping in coverage and who was coming, who was going. And Stafford is really good at beating the blitz because his receivers are very good at getting open. But on top of that, he's very decisive in where to go with the ball. He reads it quick, he throws it quick, and he can make that throw in the pocket and take a lick. So that's why Stafford's really good. When you force him to read all these coverages and throw a tight window throw, occasionally Stafford, with the arm strength that he does have, will try to force a football in that isn't there. And sometimes he gets antsy and he gets impatient and he'll just throw one down the field to Jaquiski Tart that he drops. You know what I mean? So that is why Trey Hendrickson in this game is so important. And he's matching up against arguably, and maybe not even arguably, the Rams' best offensive lineman, Andrew Whitworth, who might be a future Hall of Famer. This is going to be his last game of his career. Can Whitworth have his best game in his last game of his career? And Whitworth's still good. He's not great. But if Hendrickson can win that matchup, now we're cooking up something with the Bengals. If Hendrickson can get a couple sacks, a few hits on Stafford, and make that much of a difference when the Rams are passing and when the Bengals do send 4 rushers, that could be a difference in the game. And personally, I don't really know who's going to win this matchup. I've been pretty impressed with the Rams' ability to pass block. And I think a majority of the time, if I had to guess who is going to win that matchup, I think overall, the Rams will win the pass blocking versus pass rushing matchup. But Trey Hendrickson is that guy that can make it and make life difficult for the Rams. And do you say, if you're the Rams, okay, every time we're looking to chip this guy, we're looking to double this guy, we're looking to take this guy out of the game, because how do the Rams lose? Well, they let Trey Hendrickson loose. So we'll see if the Bengals are creative with where they align him, how they use him, because obviously you want to get him away from Whitworth if he's not winning that matchup. But that is a really big one that not a lot of people are talking about. Now you go to some secondary matchups, which I more so look at as not necessarily player versus player matchups, but like scheme versus player matchups. So first you've got to discuss Joe Burrow versus disguised coverages, because the Rams run more disguised coverages than any other team in the NFL. And Joe Burrow has actually been one of the best quarterbacks this year at deciphering disguised coverages and beating disguised coverages. And the Rams, the reason they use such a high rate of it, and what I mean by that, disguised coverages, what can we say about that? So one simple way of looking at that is safety rotation. So sometimes you'll have 2 safeties deep, right? And sometimes you'll have 1 safety deep. The Rams, what they like to do is they take the safeties and they rotate them after the snap or pre-snap to give you a different look. And the Rams are going to do this a lot in this game to try to throw Joe Burrow off his read just slightly to get that extra hint of pressure. And that's why it's so essential. So Joe Burrow's ability to read the coverage is just as important in this game as the Bengals' ability to block. Because if Burrow can read the coverage quick, he can get rid of the ball quick. But if he's not properly reading those coverages, 1, he might throw a pick. 1, he might throw a bad pass or a bad ball. But on top of that, he's going to take sacks because he's going to look one way, he's going to miss his read and come back to the next. So that's really big. We talked about it a little bit. We hinted at it, but Stafford versus the 3-man rush. This is something that a lot of quarterbacks don't face very often. Stafford has been not very good versus three-man rushes this year, and like I said, generally not very good versus coverage-heavy defense. So that is something that to look out for when you're watching the game. You know, maybe you're watching, you're like, oh, they only sent 3 there. How did Stafford do? Especially early in the game. How does that look from Lou's defense versus McVay's offense? Lastly, the Bengals versus play action. Because the Rams utilize a lot of play action, I think the Rams are going to try to run the ball a little bit. We're going to get to that a little bit more. But using play action off of that is the way that they can get some big plays in the game. Utilizing play action and hitting some, deep crossers over the middle, that's a classic of the Los Angeles Rams and Sean McVay's scheme and offense. You're going to see that with Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Odell Beckham. So play action. Typically, the Bengals have not been great in this area defensively of defending play action, but it's really big because they're going to have to pick and choose their spots of when they want to play light and when they want to play to stop the run. And I think a majority of the time, they're going to try to stop the pass before they stop that running game, which gets you to the secondary matchups of the game, okay? And that is the Rams run game versus the Bengals defense. I think if either team is able to run in this game, my guess would be it's the Rams. And the reason I say that is the Bengals defense has been susceptible versus the run this year, but a lot of times they're just good enough that it makes other teams move off of it, like the Chiefs, right? Or like the Titans. So the Titans actually ran really well, especially with Foreman in the game, and the Chiefs ran the ball really well, but for whatever reason, they got away with it and they got away from it, more importantly. So the Rams are a team that we've seen that almost run it too much, and a lot of times to their detriment, especially versus teams like Tampa Bay and San Francisco. In this game, that might not actually be a detriment. It might actually help them in this game, especially if Cincinnati is scared about Cooper Kupp, which they should be, is scared about Odell Beckham, which they should be. So the run game could come in handy here for the Rams. Now, on the other side, the Bengals might be able to run it a little bit. But I think with the Bengals, and I know this sounds old school, but I feel like the Bengals, what's more important for them is the attempts rather than the actual yardage and the actual success. And the reason I say that is and it depends on when they run it. I think for the Bengals, it's more key on when they run it than running it, period. So just running it on first down is not really going to help you much. But running it versus the right looks in certain down and distances, like let's say it's 2nd and 7, and the Rams run the ball, and they pick up 5. Okay, now it's a 3rd and manageable instead of a 3rd and 7. That could be helpful to you, right? And versus the right look, when the Rams are expecting a pass play, slip in a little run there, here and there with Joe Mixon. And I think what's more important for the Bengals is using Joe Mixon as a receiver. I think his receiving skills have been on showcase throughout the playoffs. And I think he's done a really good job of that. And I think the quick game and getting him the ball and the screen game is going to be really, really important there as well. But you look at some of the secondary matchups. Everybody knows Cooper Kupp. Hilton is going to be probably on him a majority of the time. But it wouldn't be crazy to see the Bengals double him more than he's ever been doubled in the playoffs, especially having 2 weeks to prepare. I think they probably see on tape all the moments that Cooper Kupp has come through and has dominated in key moments, and that he needs to be treated with the utmost respect. I would expect the Bengals, part of their game plan to be to take away Cooper Kupp. Odell Beckham Jr. then becomes very, very important versus Eli Apple and Chidobe Awuzie. Now, in the past, something I did notice about the Bengals and the Browns and Odell when he played on the Browns is that he actually had a lot of success versus the Bengals. He did. It's weird because he didn't have a lot of success with Cleveland, but he did have some success with that matchup specifically. I could see Odell making a few big plays in this game on double moves and things of that nature. I think he's going to have some success winning that one-on-one matchup. And I think that might hurt the Bengals significantly because that's almost more important that the Bengals win that one-on-one with Odell than it is to win the double on Cup. Because if you're doubling Cup and you're still getting torched, I know you'd rather have somebody else torch you, but it doesn't really matter, does it? So ultimately, your game plan would sort of fall through. So it's going to be interesting, though, because there's no Tyler Higbee in this game. So it will be interesting to see those two receivers and how much attention they get. Because one's a perimeter receiver, one a majority of the time is a slot receiver, and oftentimes they're on opposite sides of the field. The Chiefs did a fairly decent job of slowing down Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Without Tyler Higbee, and really the only other guy being Van Jefferson, how much attention do the Bengals decide to put on those two receivers? Because Odell's seen a lot of one-on-ones throughout the playoffs, and he's had a really, really good playoffs. So do they, shift the coverages towards both of those players? That will be interesting to watch. T. Higgins versus Darius Williams is a matchup that I think very much favors Cincinnati. And I could see T. Higgins having a very good game here. Darius Williams has not been very good throughout the season. Darius Williams is small. T. Higgins is big. There's a lot that favors this matchup. I think the Bengals are going to look to T. Higgins often in this game. And I could see him maybe even leading the game in receiving yards or receptions. He should have that type of day. If Chase is getting all the attention, Higgins is the guy that needs to come through. And I think he will. And I think he'll win a lot of those one-on-ones if he gets them. Now, something that not a lot of people are talking about is the coaching staffs and the two coaches and their game management. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Sean McVay and how he manages games. I've never really been a huge fan of him in terms of that area. He's a good play caller. He's a good offensive schemer. I like his leadership skills, but that is his weakness. And if the Rams get up in this game, I do become a little bit concerned that they might try to sit on the lead versus Joe Burrow, which I'm not sure that's going to be the right strategy. On top of that, his overall crazy usage of challenges and timeouts are a little bit worrying to me. So that is another area where I would say the Rams might allow the Bengals to get back into this game or to win this game if they're not careful. I think there needs to be attention towards the game management here. A lot of coaches are weak in this area nowadays because a lot of them are just very focused on play calling. And Sean McVay is certainly one of those guys. Okay, so those are the Super Bowl matchups that I find very interesting and I think will determine this game. Next thing I want to discuss is the Super Bowl X factors. The guys that I haven't already discussed that are not a part of the big matchups, but are not the big names. They're the smaller names. But they are very, very crucial to success for either team. If you guys start thinking about some Q&A questions for me later, I'm going to definitely be doing Q&A at the end of this video. So start thinking of some questions. Super Bowl X factors. Let's start off with the Leonard Floyd. Not a lot of people are talking about Leonard Floyd and his potential impact on this game for the Rams. He's a very good player. Not only is he a good pass rusher, but he's also pretty integral to what they do at linebacker, dropping back into coverage, taking away the back. And something I think he could be crucial in is potentially covering a Joe Mixon and limiting those yak plays for Joe Mixon out of the backfield on screen passes. And, when he's in the zones, to just make that tackle and make that play without giving up a ton of yards after catch, which is a big area for the Rams that they need to focus on, is just simply tackling and yards after catch, because the Bengals, they're going to try to get rid of the ball quick, and you need to be able to rally and tackle. Leonard Floyd's not only important as a run defender, a pass rusher, but also potentially a guy to take away those little flat throws. You talk about the Bengals defensive line, DJ Reader and BJ Hill versus the run. They've been very, very good versus the Chiefs and the Titans, especially DJ Reader. Can DJ Reader do enough on the early downs, especially early in the game, to affect the Rams running game, to affect Cam Akers, to force those runs to be limited, so that Sean McVay sort of gets away from the running game, making the Rams more one-dimensional? If that ends up happening, the Bengals got a very good chance of staying and winning this game. But if BJ Hill and DJ Reader don't have an immediate impact in the first and second quarter of this game, stopping the run, it's going to be a long day for Cincinnati. The middle of the field defenders for Cincinnati, Logan Wilson, Von Bell, Jesse Bates, and Mike Hilton, especially with Cooper Kupp, you know that these guys are going to have to be big and they're going to have to play big. You know, the safeties of the Bengals are very underrated. I like them a lot. They do some great things, specifically Logan Wilson and Von Bell at linebacker and safety, and their ability to both be impact players in the run game and the pass game, essential to what the Bengals are going to do in their game plan, because like I said, Bengals are going to try to take the pass away first, and that means they're going to have lighter personnel out there, which means that those players that are designed to both be impact on the run and the pass have to be able to make those key stops versus the run and the pass. And then you talk about Tyler Boyd, and this was the guy I was talking about. We talked about T. Higgins. We talked about Jamar Chase. Tyler Boyd is the guy that I don't think enough people are talking about, where I'm like, he could have a major impact on this game, especially on third down, right? If Ramsey is taking away Chase and Boyd is your slot receiver, and the thing that's really, really underrated about Tyler Boyd, he's a good route runner. He's got good hands. He's also pretty big for a slot receiver. And I don't think the Rams necessarily have the size at the cornerback position. If Burrow's going to throw one up in the middle of the field, Boyd can go up and get it. He can make those contested physical plays in the middle of the field versus zone coverage, take a hit, make a grab sort of thing on a 3rd and 8 that you need to have. I think Tyler Boyd, if the Bengals are going to have success on top of in the red zone, because everyone knows, Chase is going to be out wide and he's going to draw the attention. Tyler Boyd as well had a touchdown versus, I think, the Chiefs, didn't he? I don't remember, but regardless, he could have a big game in crucial situations. Maybe not all the time, but 3rd down, red zone, 4th downs, we might see some Tyler Boyd action as well. And then the kickers, to finish it all off here with the X Factors. The kickers, guys. The kickers are absolutely important in Super Bowls. We've seen so many Super Bowls end with field goals and decided by a kick. We've seen some losers. We've seen some winners in that regard. Specifically for me, I've seen a lot of winners. Now, McPherson has been money. He's been clutch. He's been absolutely lights out. But Gay has not been at his best. If this game comes down to a Gay field goal, his range has not been there. Some of that is an injury. Some of that is just his play. It feels like anything past 45 is not exactly great for him right now. I do wonder how that impacts, go for it situations, 4th down situations. And how does that impact the Bengals? I don't think they can afford to be conservative. McPherson can kick from 55, but I don't think that really means you shouldn't go for it on 4th and 2. Somebody please block that spam. So the kickers, we know, nobody talks about them, but they could have an impact at the end or the beginning of this game. There's also extra points. The odd extra point miss could be a big deal. All right. Now, before we get to some halftime discussion and to some props, let's talk about each team and how I believe what needs to happen for them to win the game. What needs to happen for them to win? So let's go through all the points for Cincinnati. How does Cincinnati win Super Bowl 56? Joe Mixon, the receiver, eats. Screen game and one-on-one out of the backfield versus the Rams linebackers. Joe Mixon, let's say a number, has 6 to 7 catches in this game for effective yards after catch. And that is a big theme for me. Yak, 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 yak. Yak, 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 yak for Cincinnati. When you catch it, it's not just good enough to catch it, but you got to make yards after the catch for Cincinnati, because the big play and the ability to sit in the pocket and buy time in the pocket is not going to be here in this game. So you got to get rid of get rid of it quick, and you got to get yards after the catch from Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. And that's the next point. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd both contribute. They both have a good game. And what does a good game mean? I mean, it could mean a lot of things. Maybe it could mean a few big catches by Tyler Boyd, maybe a touchdown. For T. Higgins, maybe it becomes T. Higgins is the leading receiver for Cincinnati in this game. You could also look at it from the other perspective. Chase needs to win the Ramsey matchup. What does that mean exactly? Well, does it mean he goes for 150 yards? Not necessarily. Maybe it means he just makes a few huge plays in the game. Maybe it means he has a Mike Evans type game versus Jalen Ramsey, like Mike Evans did. What else do we have? So on the defensive side of the football. Oh, no, I have one more point. Zach Taylor does not fall into the run-first trap. That is a point on offense. The run-first trap is something that you can't fall into if you're Cincinnati. You've got to be pass first, put the ball in Joe Burrow's hands, and mix in the run when it makes most sense. Defensively, the coverage schemes of Cincinnati confuse Stafford. If we're looking back, why did the Bengals win this game? It's because Lou did something in the coverage where Stafford was confused. He threw it into coverage. He had a pick. He maybe had 2 picks. And those critical turnovers helped Cincinnati overcome the Rams as the underdog. Next, Trey Hendrickson outplays Andrew Whitworth. We talked about this as a matchup. Hendrickson gets some pressure in this game, and he overall wins this matchup between 2 good players. Cooper Kupp is not the Rams' leading wide receiver. If Cincinnati wins, it's most likely because Cooper Kupp doesn't go off. Think about it. Maybe Van Jefferson has 100 yards, but not Cooper Kupp. And then lastly, Taylor outmanages McVay. He does better with the 4th down decisions. He does better with when to punt, when to not, when to go for a field goal, when not, when to call timeout, when to challenge. I could see that being part of the reason that the Bengals win. So all of these reasons are the points that I see as, if at the end of the day, if the Bengals win the game, that's how I see them winning the game. Bodo, thank you for the super chat. Yak yak moose instead of duck duck goose. And then we got the Rams on the flip side. So how do the Rams win Super Bowl 56? First point, Matthew Stafford delivers. What does that mean? Well, he makes some big time throws. He has a great game. Let's say, I don't even know if he needs to throw for 350. Let's say he throws for 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Most importantly, he does not turn the ball over. He protects the ball. Maybe he makes a scramble or 2. But Matthew Stafford delivers on his promise. Next point. The Rams' dynamic duo of receivers has a big game. So that means OBJ and Cooper Kupp both have a game like they did versus the 49ers, where both had 100 yards. Because look, they had 24 points in that game? If they play that way versus the Bengals, they could score 31, 34 versus Cincinnati, because I don't think Cincinnati's defense is quite as good as the 49ers defense. The Rams stay balanced, but they're not too conservative. So what do I mean by that? Run the ball, I think you'll have some success. But if you're up in the game, don't sit on the lead. Continue to run your offense the way that you were when you were getting the lead. We've seen this a couple times with the Rams in recent history. And I just don't want them to get too conservative. If you're going to run the ball in the 4th quarter, by the way, give it to Sony Michel. Do not give it to Cam Akers. I can't see that guy fumble again. The Rams' front 4 dominates, speaks for itself. Aaron Donald has a good game. Von Miller has a good game. Leonard Floyd, Greg Gaines, etc. I talked about this Rams defense limits yards after catch in the quick passing game. Very big for this game. The Rams do not blitz. They rush 4. They rush 3. Maybe occasionally 5. But they never get too aggressive. Because when you do versus Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they're going to make you pay. That's how you lose the game. You got to think about how you lose the game. Getting overly aggressive for the Rams defense is a way you lose the game. McVay learns from his first Super Bowl and has a quick start. Something about Sean McVay's career that has been fascinating and quite remarkable is his record with a lead. And I know that I'm talking about them giving up a lead. I think he has actually one loss in his whole career when the team leads at halftime. So if the Rams have a big lead in this game, I think that means Sean McVay learned from his first experience. And what I mean by that, let's get deeper into that. So the first time they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, the problem with the Rams is they didn't have anything different about their game. They didn't come out with anything unique. It wasn't game plan specific enough in that game. It was from Wade Phillips on the defense, but it wasn't from Sean McVay on the offense. And Belichick and Brian Flores dominated Sean McVay and that matchup and Jared Goff. And Sean McVay expected everything that worked throughout the season to work versus New England, and it didn't. And I think if McVay is going to win this game for the Rams, it's going to be early. It's going to be with maybe a trick play that we've never seen. Maybe Odell throws the ball. Maybe it's some different ways to run it. Maybe it's some different ways to throw it, or a counter, a layer on top of a passing play that they often run that we haven't seen. These type of things need to be used in a Super Bowl because that is the difference between winning and losing. Final things here for how the Rams win. Ramsey limits Chase. Self-explanatory. And then the Rams disguise coverages, complements its rush plan. So when they're using their stunts up front, does that coverage hold Burrow's eyes for a second for him to take a hit? That is maybe the biggest thing in the game. So that's how the Rams win. Based on those things, let me know who you think's going to win, because I think a lot of how to pick a game is determined by how do you envision that game being won and which team can accomplish more of these things. Ultimately, you know that I think the Rams will, but let me know what you think. Big Al, $10. Thank you, sir. Big Al is the man. He's been great all season long. I do want to hear what you guys think about I said it early, but what's your favorite part about the Bottom Line View this season? What's something that I did really well? What's something that sucked? Let me know in the comments. What you had some fun with on the Bottom Line View throughout the regular season, and what you think I can improve or what I should do more of. If you don't want to be harsh, then let me know. Okay, so we've discussed the game. We've discussed the matchups. I think I've been pretty thorough on that. So let's get to some props, shall we? So I have this nice little party props list that I am going to utilize. And I'm just going to go through the list, and I'm going to just go one by one and give you my quick response. So let's pull this up. I'm going to share my screen too, I think. So let's go through it. Just got to pull it up real quick. All right. Let me know about what I did right and what I did wrong this season. Okay, there it is. We're just going to look at this sports interaction party props list. Okay. Let's add my face. Here I am. Okay. So, the first one is the length of the national anthem, which I actually heard that they've taken down in a lot of places because people were getting the inside scoop on how long the national anthem is. So, a lot of people were betting the over. So, I'm going to go with the sharps here. And I'm going to say that the over is the pick. Number 2 is the coin toss result. Heads or tails? Tails never fails, guys, so I'm going to go with the tails. Game winner, Rams or the Bengals. You guys know I'm picking the Rams. Game total, over or under 48.5. I will take the under 48.5. The first offensive play, run or a pass. I would rather see a pass first, so I'm going to go with a play action pass from the Los Angeles Rams on the first play. Will there be a score in the first 6 minutes, 59 seconds? I'm going to say yes, there will be a field goal. Team to score first, the Rams or the Bengals. I will take the Rams. Jersey number of the first touchdown score, odd or even? I'm going to go even because I think Cooper Kupp is number 10, right? So even. First accepted penalty will be against the Rams or the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals because the Rams are a team that typically doesn't take a lot of penalties. A score in the final 2 minutes of the first half. I'm going to go with yes, just for the excitement of it. Will a team score 3 consecutive times? I'm going to go with no. I think there's going to be an under, so I'm going to go with no. Stafford passing yards. I'm going to go under 284.5 because I think that they're going to be in enough of a place where they're going to get balance and they're going to run it. And I don't think Stafford's going to need to throw for 300. Joe Burrow. I'm going to go with over 276.5. I think he's going to end up with 300 something yards. Total receiving for Cooper Kupp over 104 under. I'm going to go with under, actually. I'm going to go with the under here. I think he's going to end up with like 75 to 95 yards, but not quite over the 104.5. Total receiving yards for Jamar Chase over or under 80.5. I'm going to go with the over to correlate with the Joe Burrow one. Length of the longest field goal, I'm going to go under 46.5. I want to see teams go for it, so I'm going to say under. Team with the longest field goal, I'll go with McPherson over Gay there. Longest length of the touchdown in yards, I'm going to go under 44.5. I don't think there's going to be a 50-yard touchdown in this game. Team with the longest touchdown, I'm going to go with the Rams, maybe like a OBJ 20, 30-yard touchdown. Total quarterback sacks, I'm going to go with over 4.5. I actually really like that if I can find that bet, to be honest with you. Total turnovers, over 2.5, under 2.5. I'm going to go with under 2.5. I think there's going to be 2 turnovers. Number of challenges initiated by coaches, over 1.5 because McVay is going to do it by himself. Will there be a missed extra point? 1 or 2? I'm going to say yes. There's going to be a missed 2-point conversion by Cincinnati. Color of the Gatorade bath, white or clear or any other color. I'm going with lemon lime Gatorade, the yellow for the Rams. And then the position of Super Bowl MVP, I will take quarterback. So there you have it, guys. Those are all the party props. If you want to see all of my prop bets, you can get it on Patreon. Link is in the description. I have a ton of bets on the Super Bowl, specifically prop bets. So if you want to check that out, link is in the description. $5 gets you all of my Super Bowl bets, and you'll definitely make more than $5. So check that out. Okay, before we talk about the halftime show and we get to some Q&A, I do want to plug my guys at Underdog Fantasy. So right now at Underdog Fantasy, it's a great time to sign up, guys. It's the Super Bowl after all. It's tomorrow. So if you're not already signed up, use the code BLV. Look at this. Look at this right now. If you're on your phone and you're listening to the audio, get back to the video. Look at this pretty graphic I made, okay? So Joe Burrow right now. Look at that picture. He's got the glasses on and everything, bro. They're basically giving you a free pick'em choice for free. It's a special they got going on right now. All you got to do is pick Joe Burrow to go over 1 yard, and you pair him with your favorite picks on Underdog Fantasy. So that is an example of my Underdog Fantasy pick'em card, one of them that I've put together for Super Bowl. Right there on the left. So you got Tyler Boyd over 7.5 fantasy points. This is actual bet that I made. This isn't just something that I put there. Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase over 3.5 rushing yards. I've got under for Stafford rushing yards. I've got the over on Joe Burrow, and I've got the under for Joe Mixon rushing. So as you can see there, that is one of my bets. That is exactly how it works. You go over or under on the pick'ems. You can also do rivals, which is like you pick who's going to have more receiving yards, Cooper Kupp or Jamar Chase. And that's how you can pick it, and then you can put it on your card. But right now, you basically get one free selection with Joe Burrow, and on Underdog Fantasy, they will match you up to $100. So you deposit $100 in Underdog Fantasy using the code BLV, and they'll match you up to $100 for free. You get $100 to play on Underdog Fantasy to utilize for the Super Bowl. So it's a great deal. I love their platform. Great guys over there, and they're doing some really cool stuff. I'm definitely going to be partnered with them for the next season as well. So this is something that I always play on. This is a platform that I always use. So make sure to check it out, guys. It's going to be fun. I'm definitely going to be watching these pick'ems. Hopefully I can get a couple to hit. But yeah, check out Underdog Fantasy. BLV is the code. Link is in the description. And have some fun with the Super Bowl. Okay. Let's go with the halftime. Now, I want to read your comments first about this stuff. Okay. So, Odd Big King said he liked the power rankings. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. He says, I think you should make a game preview video for a big matchup. So, you mean like if there's a really big game to post a preview of it? Like, let's say next year, like Bills Chiefs, as an example? Is that what you mean? Bodo says, leave the game too early. You need to get more rest before you do a video. More double headers. Everything else is great. Well, I only leave the games early if they suck. I'm just going to be honest with you there. But I don't know. If you want me to continue doing a 42-7 game, I guess I will. Now, for more double headers, yeah, I could definitely incorporate that. I was doing that more towards the end of the season, and I think that's something that I'll continue to do next year. Bodo says, what's the odds on a safety and an onside kick? I'm not exactly sure. You might have to check that out. Ben says, what are the odds on Von Miller? I can check that for you. Hold on. What's up, Parker? How you doing? Okay. Von Miller MVP. Pretty sure I can find this pretty quick here. Let's see. I don't think he's going to get it, but where is it? Oh, it's not there. There's so many props. Nope, not there either. Super Bowl team props. Nope. I can't even find it, to be honest with you. I'm sure you could find it somewhere, though. I put a bet on Stafford and a bet on Donald to win the MVP. Will I stream the game? No. I'm having a party. I will do a review for the game. So, after the game, not right after, but sometime at night on tomorrow night, I'll be reviewing the game. I don't know what time it's going to be. Like, it depends when my friends leave and all that stuff, and when I get enough time to piece it together. But yeah, I'll be going live for the game. I'm going to guess about like at least 2 hours after. Maybe an hour after. But yeah, it depends. It depends when everyone leaves. So yeah, I figured, like I could go live for the game, but I think a lot of people for Super Bowl do like have a party or they go out or they do something. So like I figured I'll just do a reaction, and then that way you guys can get my thoughts on the game, but you can enjoy your party as well. And then afterwards, whenever you're wanting to, you can check out the reaction of my thoughts on the game. I thought that's just a better way of covering it. But yeah. So let's get to the halftime stuff. So the halftime show this year is pretty unique because it's the first halftime show, I believe, that is hip-hop rap based. Which, if you know anything about music over the last 20 years, is that is probably the biggest genre in the world for the last like 20 years. Kind of replacing rock in that regard. And headlining it is Dr. Dre. We've got Eminem, we've got Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar, and Mary J. Blige as well, which is throwing like an R&B element into the halftime show. And it's also unique because I think like a lot of these artists, specifically Eminem, but as well like Dr. Dre and stuff, kind of grew up with this music more so than a lot of the other acts that I think we've seen recently. Justin Timberlake was similar. Bruno Mars is more so kind of like more recent. Weeknd is also more recent. Weeknd was cool because he's Canadian, and I like The Weeknd. I actually really like The Weeknd's new album, but The Weeknd is Canadian, so that was kind of cool. Just because you could be like, Canadians doing the halftime show, and I'm Canadian. So, but in terms of the halftime show, I did make a nice little graphic for Instagram to show you guys my favorite albums and my favorite songs for these artists. And let me know if you're a fan of these artists and what you think is going to happen throughout the halftime show. I just think it's really cool that it's in LA. There's going to be a lot of celebrities. I think it's going to be really well presented. I think it's going to be really dynamic. Like, the thing I love about the halftime show is it oftentimes sets standards for the business of entertainment, because they try new things at the halftime show and they try to make a statement every year. That's something that I really like about it. So let's go through this quick. So the halftime favorites, all right. For Dr. Dre, my favorite album from him is the 2001, or the Chronic 2, I guess you could call it. That's the one I've listened to the most. We used to play those songs a ton in the locker room. Definitely. Forgot About Dre is my favorite song with Eminem on the hook. Eminem, favorite album is Eminem Show. I just think it has the most diversity of like really good rap songs, also really good pop type songs, and probably the ones that I just like the most. I like that style the most. It's less aggressive than Marshall Mathers LP and Slim Shady and all that, but it's still like him in his prime. Lose Yourself, I think, is his best song. There's a lot that I could have gone with, honestly, with Dre or with Eminem for favorite song, so that was kind of tough. Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style is his best album by far, in my opinion, and Gin and Juice is my favorite song. Not a huge Snoop Dogg fan. I think he's a really good artist that is featured on songs. He's better as a featured artist than he is as an actual, in my opinion, as an actual artist by himself. But that's kind of where I stand on him. But I like Snoop Dogg a lot. He's hard not to like. And then Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is like the new act here out of all these, which I like that they mixed that in for the younger audience, that Kendrick Lamar is in this. But Kendrick Lamar in a lot of ways makes like timeless music. I think his album To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the best albums of the last decade. And that's his best album in my opinion. He has a few good albums, but... And then DNA is my favorite song. That one was hard. I don't really have a favorite song from Kendrick Lamar, but I just noticed that every time DNA comes on, I just get hyped. So I like that song. And then Mary J. Blige, I have the least familiarity with her music. My mom is a fan of her, to be honest. But yeah, I feel like this should be a really, really good halftime show. I'm excited for it. I think the mixes of all of it with Dr. Dre at the center, you know, Dre's going to put something special together. I think it's going to be really good. The first song during the halftime show, my guess is going to be that it's still Dre because of the piano. If you guys know the song, like it's like dun, 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 like that piano. I'm terrible. But yeah, that like opening I feel like would be perfect for the halftime show. They could come out with like Kendrick Lamar first or something like that. But I think they're going to go with the Dre song. I don't know. And then what else do I think is going to happen? I think that Ice Cube is going to show up. I think Ice Cube, they're going to have an NWA song in there somewhere. I'm honestly surprised he's not like headline. He's not a part of this, honestly. But I think they're gonna do an NWA song, like probably Straight Outta Compton or something like that. And then I'm thinking they might do the Tupac like hologram thing. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but it would make a lot of sense. But what I really like about this, honestly, thinking about it, is that it's like, it could end up just being a full celebration of LA. It's gonna, like, you've got the music, you've got all the celebrities, you've got the team playing in the game. I mean, isn't it just perfect in a lot of ways? If the Rams lose, that would be super disappointing. But regardless, halfway through the game, you're not necessarily going to know that yet. Let me know who your favorite artist is performing at the halftime show and what song you're most excited to hear. Odd Big King says, make an extremely early season prediction game by game for each team within like 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. Isn't that like almost pointless though? Why would there be a dance routine? There's no dancers here. Like, you're not going to see like Snoop Dogg dancing, bro. They're going to bring out Ice Cube though, right? Like, you think so? Yeah, Snoop's going to come out. Yeah, that makes sense. The homeless. That's a little rough, bro. Okay. So that's the halftime talk. Also, let me know what your favorite halftime show is of all time. I think the U2 one is pretty cool just because of the whole 9/11 stuff. I think the MJ one's very good. I thought the Bruno one was really good. Prince was really good too. Yeah, I think they're going to do something with Tupac because they're doing California Love, right? Because that's been like advertised. So I think they're going to have him some way, shape, or form involved. There's dancing if the artist can dance. Like Beyonce, Bruno, Timberlake did some dancing. J-Lo did some dancing. Like, if they can dance, then they dance. But if they can't dance, then they don't dance. Lady Gaga was really cool, says Odd Big King. Yeah, she was actually pretty good, yeah. I like that moment where she, like, fell down from the stadium or whatever. So, like, I don't even know how you say it, but Big Al says Prince, U2, and Beyonce. Beyonce was good. I just remember the lights going out. I haven't seen that one in a while, though. I only remember watching it live. That was a weird Super Bowl. You don't like dancing? Ben's hating on dancing, bro. All right. Katy Perry. I just remember Katy Perry because wasn't that a Patriots game? Or was that a Patriots game? Super Bowl 49, right? That was Super Bowl 49. I think. All right, well, I'll open it up to some Q&A here, guys, if you want to ask me some questions. I know Natasha sent me some questions, so I'm gonna take a look and see if I can rattle off some answers. Yeah, it was Super Bowl 49. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll stick around here. Make sure to check out Underdog, guys. BLV is the code. Get your Super Bowl pick'ems in. Send them to me if you want. Contrarian about what? What am I contrarian about? I just like dancing. Okay, what was I looking for? Oh, yeah. Okay, weird. I swear. Bengals have 58 million in cap room and they're in the Super Bowl. Well, they weren't ever supposed to make the Super Bowl. The thing about the Bengals, though, is that's going to fall a lot on the general manager and the owner. The owner is going to have to do things that he's never done before. He's never been aggressive. He's never gone out and tried to win. Like, I have never seen him go out there and try to win. So that's got to change moving forward. And I like what Carson Palmer brought up, because he actually brought that up. And he said Joe Burrow's going to leave if they don't try to win and they don't do something different. This is weird. I can't find her questions. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to answer the ones that I want to answer. There's a lot here. Besides Brady, favorite football player who has ever played on the Patriots? There's a lot. I would say when I was younger, it was probably Randy Moss, and then I think it became Julian Edelman. 2 collectibles. Favorite collectibles. I don't really have many collectibles, to be honest. I have some some autographed jerseys that I got for basically the channel, and I have that Brian Dawkins football. Do I have collectibles? I don't know. I mean, collecting, what do I collect, I guess? So, I collect jerseys now because I need to, sort of. I collect, like, my very favorite movies. I have most of them all. I used to collect video game, like the physical copy, especially Madden, but I don't do it anymore. I don't know. What else? I don't really collect much. What else did she say? What country would I like to travel to? I haven't been to a lot of countries, so let's start there. I would probably say Italy the most because I am Italian, so I've never been to Italy, so that would be the one. I would really like to go to England. I would really like to go to France. Spain would be cool. Greece would be cool. Even like Japan, I think, would be pretty cool. But so those would be the places off the top of my head. Next, if you had a superpower, what would it be? That's a good one. I feel like super speed would just be like the Flash. Like being the Flash would just be really cool. Flight too. Like flight would be pretty cool. But I'm gonna go with speed. I'm gonna go with like the Flash speed. 7. What has been your favorite or most rewarding part of your profession? The most rewarding part of doing this is, I think, putting, sometimes it's entertaining people, sometimes it's teaching people, sometimes it's inspiring people. But like a weird mix of all those things on top of interacting with people that actually enjoy my videos. That is the coolest part, and knowing that people actually like care about it. So that's cool. That's probably the biggest thing. And then on top of that, just talking about football. 8. Do you like the color pink? Yes. Number 9, what type of music? I like all colors. And this is something that I actually I like all colors because because I'm a YouTuber, honestly. So because I do all these graphics and stuff, I have to find creative colors and like different matching and stuff, and I make a lot of graphics. So I would be a dummy if I didn't like colors. So I like all colors. 9, what type of music do you listen to? This has been asked many times. I listen to every single type of music. The music that I do not listen to the most is country music, by far. Every other type of music I listen to regularly, from rap to rock to punk to R&B, periods of music, anything from really I would say the 70s until now, but mostly 2000s vibe music, pop, obviously, yeah, like everything. Honestly, like that's just the honest answer. Sometimes I go through spurts of certain artists. Sometimes I get really into a certain artist's music that I just always play. There's always the artists that I will play all the time. But there's periods where I'll just only play specific artists or only play a certain type of music, or I'll have a nostalgia about a certain time that I'll want to play that music. So there's a lot of different stuff. Next, 10. Do you feel like your confidence has grown since starting YouTube? Immensely. Immensely. Not just on camera, but also in life, I think. I think that could also be contributed to going to school as well and moving away from home. That also helped, but YouTube for sure is a big one. And just generally, like, when you have to, I would call it perform, you have to find your genuine personality. I think I've been able to do that, and that's something that's definitely helped my confidence. So thank you, Natasha, for all of your questions. You also asked me my favorite childhood memory, which I don't really know if I have one. So I can't really place a specific memory, but I had a very fun childhood. Ben says, you're Canadian, but you never say A. That's because it's a stereotype, and also I'm West Coast Canadian, and we don't really speak like that. I think we have an accent that's closer to California than we do, because I've lived in Toronto and I've lived in the East Coast. So I do sense that and I know people from like Prince Edward Island, like Nova Scotia. So they have like a different accent that does not exist where I live. So it's sort of like New York versus LA sort of thing. So I think that there are people that say A, but not really like a lot. Which country in Africa would you go to? Egypt. Big Al says, which artists or bands would you like to see perform at the halftime show? That haven't already? Drake. Eminem was one of them, to be honest with you. Ooh. Who's like a classic band that hasn't performed at the halftime show? I don't think I guess there are definitely some, but I think like all of them are rather too old, or they haven't been able to do it. It is cool that Kendrick's being able to do it. I think Chris Brown's one of them for sure. I don't think that will ever happen unless he does it with Drake. I don't know who else really. That's something that I would have to think about. Who else? I would say J. Cole, but like I don't think he's big enough. Like you've got to be big enough to be able to do it. You know what I mean? You've got to have some sort of like pull. enough hits to do it. Usher's never done it. Usher would be cool. Like a band though, like AC/DC's never done it, have they? That would be pretty epic. Who else has never done it? Like you've got to have a legacy. Springsteen's done it. Rihanna? Okay, yeah. That would be cool. That's definitely one. I'm not a huge fan of Rihanna, like performing wise, but she would definitely be able to do it. Like she has the stuff, you know. Marilyn Manson? Oh my, that would never happen. But that would be interesting. I wouldn't doubt that. That's the thing about the halftime show. It is you've got to have enough of a name to be able to do it. And that is something that a lot of great artists won't ever achieve. They don't have the popularity. Adele, I'm not a huge Adele fan, so that's one that I thought of, but I was like, I'm not like super into that. I wouldn't be super into it. Ben says dashboard confessional with the Spider-Man. That's hilarious. Get Nickelback up there, bro. Singing Hero. We need that in my life. Odd Big King says, which country outside of Egypt? I don't know. Jeez, you asked me for one. How many do I need to name? South Africa, I guess. I'm the ones that are really nice. What's up, Ben? How you doing, bro? By the way, everyone is going to dislike this video when I say this, but I actually do like Nickelback, so you can hate on me all you like. The Congo jungle? What about Ghana? Go to Ghana. Ben, what's your favorite Spider-Man, bro? Is anyone here excited for the Batman as much as I am? All right. I think we're done. I don't know. If anyone has any more questions, let me know. If not, I think I'm going to... Peace? Scarlet Spider. Interesting. The look. The look is cool. The look is cool. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Did you get my super chat? I did not. Where is it? Oh, Bodo asks, do you think Madden will be on the cover of the next Madden? Yes, in some capacity. Oh, there it is. I see it. Ben says, with the Rams' weakness against screens runs, do you think this may be the focus? I hope it's not runs. I hope more so it is screens and quick throws. So I would say the Bengals might try to run it early. I don't think it's going to work. I think they need to focus on quick throws and screens. P.S. Lifetime Bengals fan, so proud of them, born in 92. So I've never known this type of success. Who dey rule the Super Bowl? It's funny. I actually talked to an old teacher who's a Bengals fan, and he's super pumped. He was like, he's like, this is what it's like, huh? Like, cause yeah, it's funny. But yeah, it's pretty cool to have your team in the Super Bowl and to win the Super Bowl. It is pretty cool. Never Again. That's a good song. Natasha says, I love Batman. Yes, Natasha. Love it. Metallica. I don't think Metallica has done it. I think Metallica would work. I'm surprised they haven't, honestly. Maybe they're not pop enough. They're too heavy, but I think they would be able to do it. Red Hot Chili Peppers might be another one that could do it. What's your favorite song of all time? Oh my God. Ask me any day. I might give you a different answer. Britney Spears has never done it. Has she? She might have been like a guest at one point. Her life is kind of messed up right now, Natasha. You probably know that, but I think it would be hard for her to do it. She would have been able to do it probably like 10 years ago. She might be able to still do it in the future. Yeah, check out the Batman Big Al. Looks dope. Bodo says, now we get to his parents went down an alley and got... Bro, they don't do the origin story in this movie. Bodo, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it, Bodo. I think Britney Spears would be cool at the halftime show. I'd be down for that. Ben Parker. Yeah, I saw you're a big Harley Quinn fan. Do you like Margot Robbie as Harley? Lady Gaga actually, Odd Big King says, Lady Gaga actually performed a concert at our country fair before she became famous. That's pretty cool. That's a nice little Timbit there. I enjoyed that. That's pretty cool. Where? Sash says, absolutely her dancing performance would be fire. And Natasha loves Margot, so that's cool. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Natasha, I answered all your questions. So make sure to scroll back and check it out. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all your questions. We will see you very soon tomorrow night after the Super Bowl, so enjoy the game. And I will be giving you my thoughts, reaction, and analysis on what I saw during the Super Bowl. I'll try to be sober for that, but we will see. Thanks, guys. Peace.